Oh, goodness gracious. Ugh. Okay, there we go. All right. Hi. So what are we gonna do? Like, what am I gonna do? Eat? How am I gonna commentate while eating? Very unprofessional of me. So we're gonna watch. We're gonna read together. Silent reading until I finish. All right. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten all day. Mm. All right. Let's open that. Okay. Cool. Hope everyone's doing well. Today was good. Um, I learned more and more about Astra every single day. I'm learning more and more and more about her every every single day. It's amazing. Um, in fact, she's pissed me the fuck off. um, because I'm having an issue figuring out exactly how to distribute uh Wenjins and disk drives based on what that particular DPS needs. Ella needs a lot of attack because she already gets so much damage percent from lighter and has damage percent in her kit. Therefore, and in her Wenjin. Therefore, what do? Do you go Bashful Demon plus attack percent on 5? Or do you go pen ratio on 5 plus uh plus blah, 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 plus Kaboom the Cannon or Sokaku's Wenjin? Am I supposed to go potentially um like, do I go more crit damage substats? Do I go more attack percent substats? Like, what am I doing? It's pissing me off. Because I can't figure out what exactly is the most optimal. To be honest, all of it is probably fine and it's just up to gameplay. But I'm trying to get everything like perfected, and I think I'm gonna have to start pulling out calculators. Which is my worst nightmare. Because DCZ doesn't have an automatic calculator, like how Zenless, or so, like how HSR and Genshin do. Which, by the way, I do log into those games. Um, so that means I have to do everything manually, which sucks. So, speaking of which, I don't think I did my dailies today. No, I think I did earlier. Okay, so we're good. Anyway, we're gonna read to ourselves. Sound good? While I eat. Order. Hmm. Hmm. Ace, how does Ace do it? Play multiple video games and maintain a 3.9 GPA. Drive and anxiety both help out a lot. Um, if I go to school and fail, therefore I'm wasting my time. School is supposed to prepare me for employment and out there in the job force. Therefore, I should probably have the best grades that I can. Otherwise, I should just quit and I'm wasting my time. So I might as well do the best that I can. Blah, blah, blah. If I need help with anything, there's internet resources all over the place. I have people that I can ask. And I have professors that I can talk to. So nothing is really that difficult. Really, learning isn't that hard. It's just learning isn't hard. It's just getting passionate about that learning process and knowing how to deconstruct things from the bottom up and anything is possible. For me, that's pretty much possible with everything that doesn't include math. If it's something that's formulas and stuff, I'm probably gonna flop, but I don't have to deal with that in my coursework very much at all, so I'm good. But if it's anything conceptual or anything that is attributing a definition to an attribute or whatever, it's fine. All I have to do is just take it apart, make it baby mode, make it so that a toddler can understand it, and then make it so that like a 5th grader can understand it, and then make it so that like a 12th grader can understand it. And if I keep going up in complexity, then I can understand literally anything in the world. Like, that's all I gotta do. Now, deconstruction is hard because it requires you to maybe talk to, you know, your professors or whatever, or depend on other tools, like doing your own research. But learning is really possible, and that's fine. Let's see. Deadlines help a lot. I always do things right before 11. Because that's when I get the most active, is late in the evening. That's why I always stream late, because I always lock in towards the later half of the evening. My parents and my partner help me in that I know that I want to make them happy, so I should do my best. Being a content creator brings me the most joy out of everything right now. If I don't also come through and stream and put out content, then I'm not living up to my values, which I don't like. So all that has to become a priority. In exchange, I have an inconsistent sleep schedule. My assignments usually are around deadlines and sometimes late. I stress myself out a fuck ton, and I forget to eat. So it's not all sugar and rainbows. And all else fails, we scam with drop shipping. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's not that I don't, okay. It's not that I rip myself of sleep. It's because as a streamer, and I stream late, I just sleep all day. I don't have bad sleep, per se. It's just that my schedule is really inconsistent. But I get about 7 hours every day. It's just that it's very, like, sporadic. Sometimes it's 7 hours from 11 to, like, 6. Sometimes it's, like, 6 to 2 p.m. Sometimes it's 2 p.m. to 9. So I get the 7 hours, like I get the sleep, it's just that it's all over the place. Now, if I had a fucking normal, regular job, I would be over. Oh, it'd be GG's. I wouldn't be able to do it. Sorry. I just wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah. Ooh. So, blessed content creation. Thank you for allowing me to do this. Thank you. You just made that up. No routines. Yeah, the only routine I have is, oops, it's 10 p.m. Let's get to work. Ugh. That's like the only one I have. Anyway, wait, what lie did I miss out on? Formal testimony. Oh my god. Mm-mm. But that's why I value sometimes streaming so late, because some people do have shitty schedules that force them to like stay up through the night, and I do like that at the very least there is still an audience for that. You know what I mean? Like that's nice that I can give people something to do. Some people even come in during work too, which is nice. When I do get to a place where things can become more normalized, I'm actually kind of concerned because I'm like, if I start streaming at normal times, I mean, yeah, it's good, I think, for more people, but I don't know. I don't know if that fits my vibe. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, it really is impressive you're able to lock in at the same time every day. That executive functioning part of the brain is begging to procrastinate. Well, no, like, okay, because I think with ADHD, like, it's motivation, right? You can have the positive feedback motivation of, oh, this is fun, oh, this is tasty, oh, this is delicious, oh, I love this. Or you can have the negative feedback of, if I don't turn in my homework assignments on time, I'm gonna die, and the world's gonna end, and my stomach's gonna hurt, and I'm gonna feel like shit, and I'm not gonna be happy, and if I'm not happy, then I can't stream well, without being anxious about my grades, and I'm gonna be wasting money. So even if I don't want to do it, the negative, the negative, what's it called? There's it's not negative feedback. It's not negative. Is it? Hold on. Is it negative motivation? There's a word for it. Negative, not feedback. It's negative. Is it actually negative motivation? Oh, okay. Negative reinforcement. That's what it is. Yes. Yes, it's negative reinforcement. Yes. Okay. That's what it is. Yeah. Yeah. It's negative reinforcement. Yeah. The consequences are too great for me to be too, you know what I mean, to not do my work. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like the consequences are too. Like I gotta tell you, when I don't stream or when I don't do my work, I just feel awful. I'm sorry. I feel so bad. I feel so bad. Like, oh no, people were looking forward to things. Like, oh Ace, you're not streaming tonight? Oh no, I was so looking forward to seeing you. Now my day is ruined and I'm gonna die. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, and it's never that. It really is never that. But like, oh Ace, man, like, you generally make me so happy when you stream, but then you didn't tonight when you said you were going to, and now I think you're a liar, cheater, a dumb bitch, and I hate you, and I'm never gonna watch you ever again. Again, it's yeah, but it works. Okay, testimony. Let's see. Wait, what? Oh no. We tidied up. Uh-huh. By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess. The way you say it, we already sound like Russ at all. We don't, Nash. We don't. Can't he make us sound a bit more cutthroat? It can't be just a coincidence that these men showed up at Windy Banks that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. Yeah, how do you just fucking... How do you just show up? Now I think about it. That's a good point. You just don't show up at 1 a.m. What? What's he even doing in the shop at 1 a.m.? Shouldn't he be home? We did knock a few things over. All right, hold it. Okay, shut up. What's going on? If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place? Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we? We ain't, Nash. We ain't. If we admitted to something like that, people would think we was up to no good. But now you're a liar. Well said, Ringo. Me old China. We only land ourselves in even more trouble. And in fact, now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. You landed yourself in even more trouble. Well, that's rotten luck, says the rotten apple eater. Witnesses, explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the the victim's counter? We never ransacked nothing. Right, Nash? Right. More like we tidied up the place. Sorry. It was when we heard the gunshot, but it made us both jump, and all that stuff went flying. What stuff went flying? Like the plate on the ground? So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much that you knocked off all those things off the counter? Well, it shocked us that much, yeah. The bag of nerds needs to learn to keep its shirt on. Look, it was loud, alright? Blimey, me dead granny would have woken up at that bang. Me big brother. I cannot with this British, dude. What the fuck is going on? Big bruv screamed like a bloomin' baby and fell over the counter. How am I supposed to read this? Like, I know I look like I literally know I'm from England. I was literally born there, but this is just so foreign to me. Nobody talks like this. This is insane. He knocked over a load of books and a candlestick and some skull whatnot. A skull that got tangled up in some marionette was knocked over a picture frame, and what knocked them scales on the floor. You really mastered working quietly then. What a racket. Me granny would have been scared back into her grave at a clatter like that. So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise. And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a... What? What? It was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, bam.
Excuse me.
Cockney? Do we have any Cockney speakers in chat that I can take the mic? Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels. Okay, no. Something more to add to your testimony? You seem to react just now what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something? It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it, only... Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night, and a statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. Did it? You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. Might have. What? Does it ring a bell? It does ring a bell now that you mention it. Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still, I can't help but feeling like perhaps you've been sloppy with your testimony here, eh, fellas? If I discover the witness's testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them. That's it. Yep, it's all coming back to me now. Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details you have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs. Right you are, Gov. Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun." Give me that gun? Hold it! So, in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously. We did, Gov, we did. Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we heard a kind of wavering voice before the yell and all. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. Kind of thing. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. A career in acting tragically missed. And where were these voices coming from? Could you tell? Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was. From the storeroom where the victim was found dead. And the voice you heard, was it the victim, Mr. Windybank? On my granny's life, of course it was. What the fuck? Excuse me? If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. So there were 2 guns? If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. Okay, yes. It's saying if you don't want to get shot, then give me your gun implies that there was 2 guns. But if we check the crime scene, there was only this gun. So what's going on? What's going on? There was the gun that was sitting over here. So how are there 2 guns in a locked room? Something is contradictory here, but I don't know exactly what. Two guns have been established. Yeah, there's 2 guns, but like, if the door is locked... If the door is locked... Yeah, they had a gun, right? But who would they be talking to? Who are they talking to? Like, who was... Okay. Misty Windybank said, if you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. Did he say that to... Did he say that to Gina? That's not right. That can't be correct. No, he would be talking to the thieves, right? Which is why there was this shot. Somebody got shot. So from behind the counter, he said, if you don't want to get shot, give me the gun. So then, if Mr. Windybank had a gun with a single shot in it, and he used it here to deter the thieves, then where did this come from? And how did he get shot? Oh, congratulations, Joe. Let's see, this is why we need ballistic marks. Like, this is why, like, where are the ballistic marks? Oh, goodness. And where's the bullet? That seems incorrect. Yeah, something seems wrong here. It's on his granny's life. Of course it was. So that would mean that you both knew Mr. Windybank and the sound of his voice So that would mean what? What, Nash? What? Any ideas? Yes, Council. Indeed it would. Nah. We didn't know that geezer. How am I supposed to deny that bloke and all the fancy clobbers giving us the evil eye? Uh-oh. If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true. On my granny's life it is. On his granny's life it must be. It's a good job his granny's dead. To summarize, then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then hear the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them all over the shop floor. You make it sound like we're clumsy. Don't forget we tidied up after, like, good little boys. Anyway, the way I see it, the bloke what owned the place was holding a gun, so we should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. He should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl? There's a contradiction here, but I don't know where it is. Hold it. You're saying that Mr. Windybank had a gun in his hands? Oh yeah. Bet that was a sign, eh? Them two waving them guns at each other. Must have been pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted, we heard the geezer say, "If you don't want to get shot." Didn't really sound like he meant it, mind. More like an empty threat, you could say. Mr. Windybank was known to keep a revolver in his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required. That someone being himself, of course. Good grief, extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. Well, he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person he was gonna shoot beat him to it. Cooked his goose proper. I bet he wished he squeezed the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun." And it was directly after those words you heard the gunshot. It was more or less at the same time. Okay, Nightband. More or less at the same time. Give me that gun. Then we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck. Interesting. We heard the sound of somebody hitting the clock before everything went dead quiet. After that, we done slapdash job. We did a slapdash job tidying the place up. After somebody got shot? Are you playing the other game after this? I don't know. Probably not.
Hold it!
The door was locked. Okay. It was locked from the inside. Don't ring no bells. Don't light no lights. We had to cut and run before we noticed anything like that. As we know, behind the door was the victim's lifeless body, with the accused not 2 feet away. Unfortunately, Gina was in there, unconscious, with the gun in her hand. To confirm, it would be correct to say that neither of you set foot in the storeroom? That's right, Gov. That's right. Couldn't have, even if we wanted to.
Hold it!
Who got fucking shot here? This is pissing me off. This has to be Sholmes, right? There's something about this that's pissing me off. It was Nash. We was Nash. We was. Truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when you lot turned up. If you're shaking like a leaf, don't put a loaded gun in your hand. Before your mind goes totally blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand. And after you've been handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession. Well, yeah. But listen, that proves it, doesn't it? Hello?
Hold it!
Is that true? The place was totally empty when we went in. At that time, Victor was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused, who had a gun to his head. What? Never laid eyes on him. Fascinating. The Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windybank. How would he have gotten shot in the back? How would he have gotten shot in the back if Gina was pointing a gun at him? That doesn't make any sense. What? What? That just doesn't make any sense. What? No other signs of trauma. Hmm. Is that really true, I wonder? Hmm. Hmm. You never had the chance to shoot him. Is that true? Hmm. Give me that gun. Okay, so if I'm led to believe this is true, they walked into the place. He was already in the back. He was already in the back with Gina, right? Gina brought him in there with a gun, right? And then, where's the bang part? The bloke, let's see, he owned the place. Wait, the bloke what owned the place was holding a gun. So he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. Wait, what? Give me that gun. The bloke what owned the place was holding a gun. So he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. Wait. This seems wrong. How do you know he was holding the gun if you didn't see him? Am I stupid? What? I just don't know what evidence to... What? Hold it. Hold it. You're saying that Mr. Windybank had a gun in his hand. Bet that was a sight, eh? They both had guns? Then what is this? The Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windybank, but he's saying right here that you're saying that he had a gun in his hands. Bet that was a sight, eh? So what is that? Okay, so I see the contradiction, but what am I supposed to... What? Huh? What? This cannot be true. Well, they could be assuming that based on what they heard him say. What? Hmm. He certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. The person he was gonna shoot beat him to it. But that doesn't make sense. The person he was going to shoot beat him to it. So did he have a gun or not? There was one gun in the room. And how did he get a gun? Wait a minute. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. This is assuming there's another gun. Where's the other? What? Give me that gun, and yet he was shot from behind. Wait. What? Let me check this autopsy report. Fuck you, bitch. Excuse me? It entered from the back. What? That's not true. Hold on. Give me that gun and then shot from behind. That does not make sense. What? 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 That has to be the contradiction, right? It has to be the autopsy report, is it not?
Objection.
Am I stupid? I feel like I'm dumb. Like I don't. What am I missing? Oh no. I need help. How did you know he was holding a gun? Wasn't it like, what is this?
Objection.
Okay, my bad. Okay, oops. Okay, yeah. Because, you know, okay, two things, yeah? Because if he was holding a gun, here's the picture that says he was not holding one, right? And then at the same time, who says, give me that gun, and then gets shot in the back? Doesn't make any sense. Right? Right? Are we in agreement? Do we agree? Give me that gun from behind? No. No, that's silly. That doesn't make any sense. You're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct? He was looking at a mirror. Yeah, okay. That's it, Gov. You got the picture. He has it now. She has, no question. And yet the photographic evidence from the time of the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windybank was not in the possession of a firearm of any description.
Objection.
You surprise me. Does the defense really intend to highlight evidence that compromises the position of the accused even more? Furthermore, the defense has failed to establish that the photograph print presented was taken suitably a short time prior to the victim's death. Your chronology is severely lacking. Yeah, that's right. Too right, Nash. Too right. The old geezer could have been about to turn the tables on the girl, eh? Hardly likely. No, I'm afraid this won't stand as conclusive evidence. Oh, fuck me. Was that wrong? Okay. Okay. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I presented something that is contradictory, but it wasn't correct. I don't think I've ever actually had that happen to me ever in Ace Attorney. Maybe once. So what? He was holding a gun. Then where was it? Am I stupid?
Objection.
Am I stupid? Like, then where the fuck? Where is his gun? There should be 3 guns. Right? So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct? That's it, Gov. You've got the picture. Okay. And yet the photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windybank was not holding any firearm of any description.
Objection.
There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Windybank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accused's hands. Yeah, but let's object to that, because he just said, yeah, that Moltaler used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Gave me that gun. Yeah, but that's not true.
Hold it.
Yeah, hold it on that. Stay exactly where you are, right there. If the crime had taken place, as you so colorfully described in your testimony, then it would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out. Are you sure? Yes. You intrigue me, my learned friend, but let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where is the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency with the witness's portrayal of the final moments? It'd be the autopsy report. Okay, so I had the right idea. According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot. Indeed, with the events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've led to believe. Yes, that's right. So if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. Skulkin. But it's the God honest truth. It is, Nash, it is. When he was shot that night, the shopkeeper had a gun in his hand. We saw it with our own bleeding eyes. Did I hear you just now? You actually saw Mr. Windybank holding a gun? SpongeBob Silent Hill? What do you mean, Huh? What do you mean, What do you mean, Something like that must have slipped. Wait, what? Something like that might have slipped out. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these 2 witnesses that on the night in question, they actually saw with their own eyes the victim wielding a gun, which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person. witnesses, explain yourselves at once. Well, the thing is, we weren't supposed to, I swear to God. It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witness would be the death of you. Am I to understand that you replaced the untruths of your original testimony with renewed lies? Are you guys serious? This can't... Does this happen in court? Did people just go to court and tell lies? Repeatedly? There's no way. What? Ever so sorry, Governor. The truth is, see, we, cut it out, Nash. Cut it out. If we blab now, you know what he'll do to us. He? Who's he? Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you. This is your brother we're talking about, right? Rob, come on, the game's up. But we have... Wait, we have our guts for garters. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out. On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. Thank God. Wasn't that fucking stupid? Everyone here knew that, like we couldn't, like, okay, maybe our brains subconsciously put it together, but that sounds so stupid. Why would they not have seen him? And why is their gun in his back? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place. Do we have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth. Alright, so we just got inside the gap, and... What? Breathed a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Give me that gun, he bellowed. And then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we had it. For an old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. I pulled me gun on him, and then he legged it through the door into the back room. I'm so fucking pissed. I'm so upset. 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 Guys, come on. No, no, no. No, why didn't I think of that? If she was locked in there and there was no other way in, then couldn't the person before had just kicked down the door and broken the lock already? And then they could have just, you know, put the bodies in there and then replaced the lock. And then the police came and then broke the lock again. Right? Does that make sense? Door locked, broke open, put the bodies in there, relocked the door, changed the lock, and then the police came and broke the lock again. Could that have happened? No, because the door locks from the inside. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, never mind. We had gotten inside the gap and breathed a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we had it. Okay, for an old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. I pulled my gun on him, and he legged it through that door into the back room. We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear. Excuse me? So you're now telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop. Well, yeah. Sorry. Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably. But honest, Governor, this time, Nash, this time, we got nothing more to hide. Very well, counsel for the defense. You may proceed with your cross-examination. If anything, these latter halves of cross-examinations tend to get easier because then, like, then it leads you to, like, the inconsistency in the evidence that doesn't make any sense. Like, let's take a look. The victim was already in the storeroom when the brothers entered the premises. Which means Jenny must have been in there at that point as well. But that doesn't make any sense, does it? Yeah, because she would have already been in there. Did she sneak in while all that was happening? If Gina had threatened Mr. Windybank into the storeroom with her at gunpoint, then why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived? Did you see the accused at that time? What, that manslaughter? Couldn't tell you. You mentioned that Windybank shouted those words in your previous testimony too. However, you claim that you have heard them yelling them at the other side of the storeroom door. But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Yeah? Was the victim Mr. Windybank wielding a gun at the time? Was he ever? Blimey lummy, a great ugly barrel he had. Pointed straight at me front piece. So what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Windybank with the gun at the time. Is that right? How did he have the gun if Gina has the gun? Is everybody stupid? Then all of a sudden he came at us, he did. It was Bedlam. I didn't know what was going, who was going for who. Okay.
Hold it!
Uh-oh. At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via a secret cable from the pawnbrokery. There was a button under the counter to use to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim. That's right, when the brothers fled the scene and back onto the street, they ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they?
Hold it!
Oh yeah, were you gonna shoot him? The man fled into the storeroom when you pointed your gun at him. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. He shoved me away, then ran through the door and shut himself in. He shut himself in. The man fled into the storeroom when you pointed the gun at him and shoved himself in. Why would he run into the storeroom? According to what everyone is saying, Jenny was in there waiting for him with a gun. Right. Jenny allegedly used Mr. Woodybank's gun to threaten him and force him to open up the storeroom door. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Woodybank's hands again? I have no idea, but that is strange, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Hmm. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. Hmm. Was there somebody else? Was there somebody else? Was there somebody else? Couldn't have been him? If we're talking about... If you're saying that there was a gentle rising trajectory and this dude is like 5 foot crew height and really short, what's to say that when he was thrown over the counter, he couldn't have like ran into the storeroom? I'm gonna say no for now then. But we have, well, there has to be an answer because we're trying to prove her innocent, right? So there could have been. Uh-oh. From the moment you admitted that you encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely. What is your point, my learned friend? The question we must answer is who could have shot Mr. Woodybank? Hi, Casey! And it's the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer at all. You have my attention. In that case, let us return to this plan of the premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts, so pray, what other possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be? Okay, you must now provide answers to the court in respect to 2 conundrums. 2... Namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time? If you believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate from where that person could have fired the gun. Oh, this is a hard one. Oh, this is a difficult one because could they have already been in the storeroom at the time? Well, that's where he bled out, right? The storeroom was locked from the inside. Right, but who's to say that person wasn't already in there? Hmm. Then how did the door open? What? I mean, it has to have been from behind the counter. Obviously.
Take that!
Oh, I did that wrong.
Take that! Objection!
I did that wrong. No, no, because he said he was, there's something about a skull, right? So he would have been like here, right?
Take that! Take that! Objection!
How am I wrong? Wait, what? Was he already in the fucking room? Was he? From where did yeah? Was he already in the room like I thought? Well, that's what I said. Oh, but then Scott fucking, oh, Scott fucking, that's what I said. Well, that's what I said. What? That's a good question, though, actually. So where the... Wait a
Take
minute.
that! Take that!
The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. Mr. Windybank died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. Looking at the stain of blood from the storeroom floor, it appears that the body was moved. It doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, right? Because there wasn't a smear of blood. So he died there, right? Which tells us that he almost certainly was shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired? So you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom. Well, according to the Skulkin brothers' earlier testimony, I pulled my gun on him, and then he legged it through the door into the back room. Well, I discovered the body through a peephole, but I don't know where the peephole is in compared to his body. If Mr. Windybank ran away through the door, we would have to assume that the door was open at the time. Where's the bullet? It was at precisely that moment when the victim was fleeing for his life that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom. Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial? Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner, his report stated that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. So from someone short, like him, right? It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Right, that's what I said! That's what I said! Poor man, shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety. Of course, he would have been leaning forward as he was running away. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it still would have entered his body on an upwards trajectory. So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Windybank. I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten, but the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot as you fled into the room. Do you also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock? What if somebody else locked the door? Somebody who was afraid of being shot? That would make a lot more sense. Is that so? The defense assertion is that the victim was shot from the outside the storeroom. In which case, who shut and locked the storeroom door from the inside? It was Gina.
Take that!
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only person who was inside the storeroom at the time. It was Gina.
Objection!
That's absurd. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room? For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around her neck. I'm inclined to agree, I must say. Well, counsel? Well, duh. No? Half-baked notions have no place in my courtroom. Counsel, remember that, please. But of course, Ginny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it? It does? Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they? Yeah. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Windybank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Mr. Windybank must have heard the intruders breaking into his shop and left the storeroom. Intruders, eh? That's us, bro. If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom, hoping to escape danger. Is Gina fucking useless? Are you actually gonna sit here and tell me, Scott, this game is so annoying. Are you gonna sit here and tell me that Gina is so just like, fuck it, I don't trust anybody, that she can have just said this? She couldn't have just said anything? Why didn't she say anything? What reason would she have had to not have just said that? What? Gina's right there. Why don't we ask? What? Gina, are you not gonna say anything? Like, what? Oh my. You're really gonna be that bratty to where you can't even say that? Oh my. Okay. Then probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom, hoping to escape danger. Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Winnipeg fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. And we have to ask ourselves now, is what would the defendant would have done in that moment? Uh-oh. Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Winniebank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it in order to save her own life.
Hold it.
But I mean, we ain't the ones who done it. We ain't. You gotta believe us. I mean, come on, we'd never shoot no one. That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would, because before my own eyes, you shot Herlock Sholmes. There's only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Winnipegg's murder, but at the same time, no, because look at the gun. A single round was fired. Uh-oh. First time ever and probably the last. Why did he start maw giggling? He's gonna present this, isn't he? He's gonna present this anyway. He's gonna present this. It couldn't have been that. So there has to have been another gun. Or something. There's emulation still loaded in 5. Okay. So then that can't be true. Oh gosh. Oh, he's gonna. Please. I'm gonna eat my own ass if this dude says, "Oh, but look at the gunshot. Look at the rounds that were fired." Oh, but please, no. Oh, please, no. What? Such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable pettifoggery? What? The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly, credibly cannot and will not stand. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw. Yes, it's the gun. Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic failing? Yeah. The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. Assuming you're not from too dim-witted to count bullets. Well, there goes my ass. Dude. Yeah. None of this makes sense when you. Oh, it's stupid. Oh, I don't know how to, because I don't know what to do at that point. Ooh, I don't even know what to do at that point. Oh dear. He noticed then. Huh? What's everyone talking about? Counsel. Yes, sir. Tell the court, how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime? 2? 2 bullets? Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. The second, that which struck the detective, Sherlock Holmes, on his arrival at the scene. Indeed, the defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body to strike the calendar. Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know that there are 2 firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windybank, and the Skulkins brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Now then, my learned friend. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these 2 brothers shot Mr. Sherlock Holmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did. Uh-oh. If the single bullet that fired from the brothers' gun hit Mr. Holmes, it means Mr. Windybank not shot by same gun. Stop. Only 1 bullet. Exactly. This Nepalese street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick with no hope of standing up to scrutiny. Oh boy. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hollowed nectar into the public gallery. But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her younger years, she can regrettably no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She has a past riddled with criminal conduct. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbrokers on the night in question with loathsome intent. As we can see beyond a doubt in this print, which depicts her threatening the victim with a murder weapon. And I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence that the prosecution wishes to present. I was looking for this. The very day before that hateful murder of Mr. Windybank, the accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly did not belong to her, and none of the subtlety of a pickpocket, might I add, but by brute force and brazen impudence. Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There is no depths to which this girl would not stoop if pushed, no crime she would not commit. The court forgets that fact at its peril. I see. I think it would be prudent to take this music box test into the evidence, counsel, as a grim testament to the defense. What Franziques? What? Yes, Inspector? We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service, and, I think it was agreed that that disc wouldn't be used as that evidence. What? I'm unaware of any such meeting. But those were the instructions right from the top. The government bigwigs were insistent. What did you fucking do? Inspector, I am the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present in my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord. Indeed, bailiff. Can't we scan this? Can't you scan this? Don't tell me it's green. Don't be green. Don't be green. Don't be green. Don't be green. What? Oh, what? Not that couleur. Uh-oh. What? Oh my, what? Ooh. Ooh. I knew this guy and this guy Right. Okay. That's why they didn't want to present it as evidence, because this guy, yup, exactly. Oh no. Oh. The pr- the prosecution has established the accused's motives, opportunity, and basis of character. There is nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case. I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once. All for 5 minutes. Oh dear. It wasn't even 5 minutes, Bruno. My lord. I wonder if I might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about it. Has been stumbling about in a bit of a fog up until now, if the truth be told. But all of a sudden... Oh boy. No, 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 no.
Guilty.
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 Wait, what? That's my line. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley. How dare you use it against us? Uh-oh. There's one thing I'm absolutely certain of. Gina did not shoot Mr. Windy Bank. Uh-oh. Secret communication between Great Britain and its allies. And you're telling me that these discs can only be played with certain types of music players that are all over the country? Therefore, this disc could harbor secret information or something? Could that be the secret communication medium? These discs? Uh-oh. Are you even British? A young English gentleman. Nuh-uh. How come none of these signify? Why doesn't it say like an English skulk, an English in a guy? Like what? You're not indicating, why is it specifically indicating that this guy is a young English gentleman? You don't know that. What if he's not English at all? What if he's American? What if he's from some other country? I don't know. You're not even from here. That's why if we're using secret communications, that's why this dude's name is fake. And his identity is oh my god. And that's why he was willing to shoot me? That's why he pointed a gun at me? He was willing to kill me. That dude was a secret agent. Ooh. From another country. That's why he was willing to kill me. Oh my god. Nuh-uh. Here's my theory. My theory now at the moment is that Edgar Benedict shot Herlock Sholmes for, I don't know, learning the secret with this chocolate thing, with this caramel trick or something. And this dude is a spy and he's not even English. And okay. Okay, basically this guy is up to no good. What's a rogue? Always a rogue, I say. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Oh, I need to press that. Oh. What did you say to me? I have to admit, I was rather bowled over by the argument put forward by the chap in black. But when that fell apart like a house of cards, I saw that I'd jolly well been hoodwinked. Well, no more. That prosecutor is being mean? I know, that's right, Iris. Get him! Yeah, just because she's done some things in the past that she shouldn't have doesn't make her a murderer. Where do you keep getting these, bro? What? Allow me to savor this fruity vintage while I savor the spectacle of your fruitless debate on the matter. Here's to the truth coming out, eventually. Please be the last time I ever had to do this stupid mode.
Hold it!
I thought you were just a tourist. I have much expertise with guns. I have lived through many, how do you say, extreme, violent bath of, no, blood of, extremely violent bloodbaths, perhaps? Those, extremely violent bloodbaths. English is very difficult tongue. Okay. Considering the sort of people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have a tongue. Anyway, if you have questions about bullets and guns, you ask me. There's nothing I don't know, no mystery I can't solve. He's very confident in his knowledge of guns, that's for sure. But, if possible, please, only in Russian language. He's not very confident in his knowledge of English, though, is he? No, still, we should bear it in mind. He's our mystery man if there's a question about guns or bullets. Mm-hmm.
Hold it!
Oop. Damn. Damn. Just because she has a history of pickpocketing means she's guilty of murder. Is that what you're saying? Are all members of the British Army so quick to judge? Are you mocking Her Majesty's Armed Forces? The greatest military organization in the world? No, I'm simply illustrating my point. Making assumptions about people because they're a soldier or a pickpocket is wrong and dangerous. Well, yes, you might have a point there, I suppose. But let's not forget the girl has already shown that she had it in her from before. She clearly is a criminal sort through and through. I can't deny it. When you say that she's shown it in her, are you referring to this? Exactly. Tried to swipe that only a day earlier, or am I mistaken? Not exactly. Given that I was actually there at the time, it's hard to refute that. I never actually seen the real thing. I can't wait to have a closer look at it. Oh yes, of course. He said he got every kind of music box across Europe. Across Europe? So couldn't it have been something that's outside of Europe too? America? Russia? I don't know. Hold it.
Hold it!
When a parlor maid asks me how many are invited to dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings. This is what I was saying earlier. Where's the ballistic expert? That's literally what I was saying earlier. I love how I'm coming up with these answers and conclusions like well in advance. I like that's exactly what I'm saying. How are we not examining the bullets to match to that of the gun? Like, are we not doing that? Why not? Sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. One or two guests rather like to find china. Does your employer dine with thieves? So I suppose if there was another bullet somewhere of which we were unaware, I had to reconsider my position. A third bullet somewhere on the scene? Could that be possible? Of course it could be possible, right? But not right now. If I missed a bullet while cleaning his lordship's office, well, I should have received a sound scolding. A third bullet. That's what I'm saying. A third bullet. Yeah, there's the one in the wall. Where's the bullet? Wound. Bullet wound, but where is the bullet? That's the problem. Like, the only other bullet that I know about is the assumption that Is the assumption that the bullet is inside both bodies? Like like Holmes has a gun, has a bullet in him, and Windy Bank has a bullet in him. So why would there be one on the? Wait, what? Fuck me in the ass. I thought this was the. Oh my god. I thought. Am I so? No. Stop. You didn't indicate where it went. Is this just some third random bullet? Okay, the bullet in the calendar was the one that hit Sholmes. Okay. Okay.
Hold it!
I can't believe this game led me to believe that if I press people too much during these summation examinations, it'll make things worse. Is that even true? That's a lie, isn't it? Why did they even say that? I can't believe they even tried that. How dare they? I don't recall them saying that. I do. I do. That's why I don't press everybody. I deliberately don't press everyone. Like if the person seems too firm, I deliberately don't press them. Something about them solidifying their positions even further or something? Otherwise, I'd be pressing everything. The Skulkin brothers shot the great detective, didn't they? Yes. Okay. A simple operation. Are you talking about leaving the scalpel? What about the gun? What about the bullet?
Hold it!
There was no question that the man was shot, but the bullet had simply vanished from his stomach. Hello? Were you operating on Herlock Sholmes? Oh my god. We're using the very latest anesthesia techniques, I might add. What? Let me see. The fellow was brought in not long after midnight, I remember correctly. They said he'd been shot by some criminal or other, so I opened up like a shot. But the funny thing is, when I went over his insides with a fine-tooth comb, I couldn't find a bullet anywhere. So I'm afraid I had to throw my hands up and stitch the fellow back up. So you're gonna say, so here's the thing. So we need to find out if that bullet in the wall is the same bullet that came from the gun that the twins used. Of course, that's what we're going with, right? And we could substantiate our argument by using the blood as even more evidence. That's where I think we need to go. I hate to state the obvious, but yes. Surely that's because the bullet is at the scene of the crime. The counsel for the defense is correct. As clearly shown in this photographic print, the bullet that the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region, then exited his body and lodged into the shop wall where the calendar was hanging by the door. I think you'll find it's really simple if you just consider the problem three-dimensionally. I feel like the guy on the right is gonna say something. Well, juror number 4 is about the best I can do. As soon as I saw the wound in the man's stomach, I flipped him over. Like a pancake? Are you saying you checked his back? Of course I did. And there wasn't a trace of an exit wound? No sign that the bullet had left his body at all. What? That's the point. The only logical conclusion was that the bullet was still somewhere inside the man's innards. Which is exactly why I said about slicing him up. And still none the wiser, even now. How many times do I have to say it? Can somebody explain how it happened? Can somebody please solve the mystery? It's almost as much of a mystery as how this jury was put together. The mystery of where that bullet ended up is infuriating. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Objection.
What? The two statements clearly contradict the idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other. On the night in question, Mr. Shones was shot by one of the Skulkin brothers. But since there was no sign of an exit wound in his back, we must assume that the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Shones' body either. Furthermore, a bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop where Mr. Shones was shot. Juror number 6. Hello, my name is Velan. Pleased to meet you. This apparent contradiction in the facts is so clearly troubling is clearly troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery? I have seen very similar situations in Motherland. It was that night. There was a blizzard. I was running away along mountain road in freezing cold. Golly. The snow was piling high on both sides of the road. It was very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles and they were on dog sleds. Mental note, don't ask too many questions. I was shot from behind and I fell in the snow. And this situation was very similar to what I hear today from Doctor. They could not find bullet in my body and no sign of, how do you say, exit wound? Then where did the bullet go? Bullet never hit me. Well, if it never hit you, then why did you fall down? Bullet hit frozen wall of ice very close to my side. What? One small piece, very sharp, broke away from lump of ice and pierced my body. It made deep wound that looked just like bullet wound. Good gracious. Of course, piece of ice quickly melted inside me. And that solution is mystery to disappearing bullet. But that doesn't answer the question at all. The shooting happened in the pawnbroker's shop. Not some snowy mountain in another country. Chocolate? Just an idea. But we might not be looking exactly at the same scenario here. Bruno. Where exactly was Hurley shot again? In the stomach? Around his... so what? Did the caramel melt? Well, that's precisely where he always has a little pouch in his belt. A pouch? A pouch. It's where he keeps his glass vials of very dangerous chemicals that he uses in investigations. Oh. Doctor, where is the pouch that Mr. Shones was wearing? Well, the fellow had nothing like that on his person when he arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember. If I may. Le Franziques? Well, I realize it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a summation examination. I should inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom. Sorry? As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Sholmes injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound. Ah, thank goodness. I thought I was getting forgetful for a moment. Since then, it has been in my safekeeping along with the other evidence relating to the case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since this incident occurred. Very well. While extremely unconventional during a summation examination, I must demand the prosecution presents the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Herlock Sholmes' pouch. I see. So this is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes on a night in question, is it? Look at that. One of the files is broken, and the leather around it is scorched black. It's almost as if the file exploded. Exploded. So that night, the bullet from the Skulkin Brothers' gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch, and it was the glass file exploding that caused the fellow's injury. This bullet did not penetrate victim, but it was deflected into wall of shop. A delightfully complex aroma. Well, it would appear that one mystery has been solved at least, though it has no bearing on the truth of this case. The Bulging and Bulurging brothers shot the detective, and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of the case remain unaltered. But at least the mystery is solved. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man. Duh. Thank you very much. Glad I could help. Due to its bearing on the conundrum just solved, the court will sequester the scruffy pouch as evidence. Curly's pouch isn't scruffy. Oh dear God, what happened here? Pierced? Like a knife? Was he stabbed? What the fuck is that? Oh my God. The strap is broken. Okay, so this must be where the bullet hit. There's the bullet. There is a third bullet. There were 3 bullets fired. Nice. Okay, well that's what I was looking for. Allow me to show you then. The third bullet.
Take that!
Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question in Windy Bank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired.
Hold it!
What is this trickery, you Nepalese conjurer? Where did you find that bullet? It was lodged inside Mr. Sholmes' pouch. What? This pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholmes' waist before he was taken to the hospital, and since then, it has been touched by no one. Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulkin brothers that night? Yes, as your lordship surmised, it hit this pouch. But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know that the whereabouts of the bullet that fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in this photographic print. 2 guns from the scene have already been submitted into the court record as evidence. Yes, that of Mr. Winniebank and that belonging to the Skulkin brothers. An examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each. But that must mean... That's right. We now know that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. And until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. While this summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case has been, the defendant has built. As is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination. Bring the witnesses back to the stand at once. Oh my. Witnesses. Governor, were you listening to the proceedings? Well, that was him. This was the him that they were talking about. Were you listening to the proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination? Uh-oh. Simply answer this one question. A third bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that? Make of it, Gove. I don't make nothing of... I don't make nothing if I can't help it. Is it one of yours? Gore blimey. Gore blimey. Not a chance. In that case, did you have an accomplice? What? What? Never. The Skulkin brothers work alone. It's just the 2 of us. That's our trademark. How soon we forget poor Sulky. Only 2 bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have any evidence. The third bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it? Lummy, that's a head scratcher. Counsel for the defense. Yes? I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The third bullet, and the mysterious missing firearm from whence it came. Thinking about all of the testimony we've heard, and all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this third bullet tells us about the Skulkin brothers. They had a secret accomplice. On that night at Windy Bank's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a third man. The witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of this accomplice, but the evidence all points to the fact that there was someone else present. Someone carrying a gun.
Objection!
An accomplice, you say? Pig's will. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 summation examinations, yet in all that time there has been not a murmur of a third man. If this apparently wraith-like being exists. The court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. The prosecution demands answers on 2 accounts. Firstly, proof, evidence, that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. And secondly, who it is? I know who it is! Goo goo gaga, I know what this is. Come on, what is this, baby mode? Despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting. Oh boy, here we go. Uh-oh. On the night in question, and the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof do you have that there was a third intruder present at the scene? The blood samples.
Take that!
The evidence is right here in this portfolio. By Joby, that portfolio again, is it? Do you expect the court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim that one of these blood samples proves the presence of a third intruder. Well, which one is it? It's this one.
Take that!
What am I looking at here? This appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar. That's a blood stain, my lord. A blood stain? Green blood? Curious, even for you. Is the court to understand that the intruder was some unhuman creature? It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. By the greatest detective. New invention, stop. Not yet appeared in stories, stop. This is, you see. Wait, it's this, you see. It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger sprays a chemical that reacts with the different elements in people's blood and changes its color. Different elements of people's blood? Yes, everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what color it changes to, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is. Oh, that brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom, stop. Very exciting, stop. As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Windybank. A striking blue. Yes, so you see, the green color of this bloodstain on the calendar shows that somebody else was shot in the main part of the shop. Now hold fire there, young man. Could be from some unrelated incident, couldn't it? No, it's not unrelated. The date showing the calendar is the day on which Mr. Windybank was killed. Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day. Then whose blood is it? Well, the Skulkin brothers on the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else, the third intruder, in fact. Whose identity the court is still waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder?
Take that!
The man's name is Edgar Benedict. Edgar Benedict? Who on earth are you talking about, counsel? He paid a visit to Windybank's pawnbrokery on the afternoon before the incident took place, when the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into her possession. That's right. The man identified by the defense, Edgar Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force. Broker. Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no? Yes. The article in question belongs to me. I demand it be returned at once. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say, any music box discs too. Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc. Can you corroborate on this account, Inspector? Yes, my lord. That's no more or less what happened. And in the interest of being thorough, I asked Windybank for a print showing the fellow. Taken from his red-handed recorder gubbiness. Yes, that's him talking to Mr. Windybank this morning. Uh-oh. And you claim this man is the brother's accomplice? Well, Mr. Skulkin? Never seen the geezer before in me life. On my life, Gub. On me life. Never seen him. Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion. I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nepalese friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice. Yes, I can. Then show us the evidence. I agree. We must see proof. The clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is. Come on, hello. This is the last piece of evidence. I had a feeling that something has been missing in this trial from the very start. But now, I'm gonna drag it kicking and screaming into the courtroom. Are you ready to present your answer to the court then? Yes. The defense will present the evidence now. Proof that the man pictured in the photograph or print was in fact the person struck by the third bullet. La 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 la. La.
Take that!
As I mentioned before, on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully, admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Windybanks, which is when the aforementioned Edgar Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession, no? That is correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred. But of course, sir, here's the disc for you. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute. That disc is mine. What are you doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Being a music box disc, it contains small but sharp metal protrusions all over its surface. These protrusions caused Mr. Benedikt's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now. A blood stain, is it? My assistant and I have just analyzed the blood stain here in this very courtroom using my trusty fogger gun. Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio. I say, it's green. It's exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar. The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Edgar Benedict, who was in Windybank earlier that day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night. Uh-oh. It's boiling in here. They're not setting this place aflame, are they? My lord, it is the opinion of the defense that Mr. Edgar Benedict should be summoned to the courtroom to testify. Uh-oh. It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence. Uh-oh. This has gone on for long enough now. This flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Sherlock Holmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes. A god of detection or some such. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court of the land? Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So the bloodstain turned a shade of green. What of it? Here's to your successfully proving that no other blood in the world could turn the same color. And pray, don't even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it. That is a good point. Then can't we just, I don't know, test everybody's blood to see what color it is? I knew it would come to this. Of course, Mr. Sholmes' invention is going to be recognized by any official body. But what other choice do I have? I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said before. About how he was temporarily suspending the summation examination. Oh, in other words, the examination still isn't over yet, is it? Ooh. And in the summation examination, the decision of whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least, not for now. Young lady, you have quite the devious mind. It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Bruno. Is that about right, would you say? Or do I misunderstand something? Iris Wilson, sharpshooter. After that shrewd prices, what? Of the situation from an entirely unexpected source, it must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its previous conclusion. This is absurd. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leanings on this matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn, please.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
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 Not guilty.
What the fuck? Why would they still say guilty? Because I guess they don't believe. Okay, it would make sense that those two were skeptical.
Objection!
My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision. On what grounds? If those jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender of real police work, then they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt. I'm sorry, Lord Van Zieks, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. This trial will continue. Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible. What? The name of the gentleman that he gave for himself is quite clearly false. Oh my god. Could I say something? Gina? It was me, my lord. Oh. What have you say, madam? If possible. Inspector. Me, madam? I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again. The one in which the gentleman is shown. All right, yes. This one you mean? Of Benedict? Oh, no. Uh-oh. It's gonna connect to this. I know it is. I know it's gonna connect to this. Yes. There's no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5? You don't mean to say... You know this man? Yes, I know him. What? No. Good gracious. Order, order, order. Juror number 5. On how on earth? I am the communications officer. Stop. As we can clearly see, the gentleman in the photograph is... Stop. Also a communications officer. He works in my office. A very talented operator, in fact. I knew it! I knew it! He's leaking forward information. I just know the whole plot of the whole game. Like, that's what I was saying. That's what I'm saying. He's leaking government information through this medium of this disc. I know what I'm talking about. Come on. Like, it's so obvious. He should be in the communication station now, tapping away on the telegraph. This doesn't seem right somehow, but I can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right. Why doesn't it feel right? I suppose we all imagined the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out that he has a respectable job by day. Whatever he gets up to at night. Yeah, that doesn't seem right, because shouldn't he be shot? Shouldn't he be shot and injured? Look at this bullet. How is he at work? This is making me so mad. How in the world is it Eggers if he got... How is he at work? Who gets shot and goes to work? Times must be tough then. Holy shit. Who is going in? What is going on? That can't be right. Yes, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why that felt wrong. If the gentleman is at London's communication station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Benzies, if you please. Yes, my lord. Make the necessary arrangements with all haste, as your lordship bids. The court will recess for 1 hour. When a new witness arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson? Yes, my lord. I should like to hear from you specifically about the events of the pawnbrokery. Oh my god. On the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess. Yes, sir, my lord. Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m. Oh, shit. Oh my god. Isn't this getting... It's getting dramatic. It's getting good. What now? Well, we'll see what happens. Gina, how are you holding up? I'm starting to feel quite warmly towards her frequent cold shoulders now. Jenny, are you alright? Why aren't you saying anything? What's the point, eh? Why go to all this trouble and fight so hard for the likes of me. What? Well, you saw it. That picture. What picture? Oh, you mean the one pointing the gun? Well, I didn't think it would have captured a scene like that, that's for sure. It's hopeless. Anyone who sees that's gonna think I did it, ain't they? Well, I won't pretend it wasn't a big shot when the prosecution first presented it to the court. Surely you've have had your doubts in me now. You can't still think I'm innocent. Of course I can. Jenny, why don't you talk to us? Tell us what really happened that night. Runa's clearly managed to piece together a lot of new information, but still, we'd really like to hear it from you. Alright then. It was after we had that dinner together at your place, right, Iris? Then we all had a chat up in your office, didn't we? Yes, I remember. You needed to go into the room and make sure, so that's why you threatened him, right? After that, I just couldn't get any sleep, so I slipped out and went down the street to the 1 to 2. What? So I slipped out and went down the street to the 2 to 1 to Wendy Banks' place. I had to know if Iris' story was there or not. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I don't know what it's about or nothing, but if you ask me, there's something in it that Sean don't like. Something what he didn't want people reading. So that's why he lied to Iris about sticking it in lug with Windy Bank for safekeeping. At least that's what I thought at the time. So you broke into Windy Banks? I just had to know if it was there or not. I mean, I had no idea that all that was gonna kick off, did I? I struck the lock and snuck inside. It was dark, as you like in there. So I gave the oil lamp on the counter a bit of wick, and that's when... What do you think you're doing? I nearly died. I did. And the next thing I knew... I grabbed the gun on the counter and was waving it in the air. Like, I don't know what. Yeah, I figured this. You're the girl who was in here this afternoon. I didn't think pickpockets went in for armed robbery. The mantle script. Have you got it here? Did Jones ever leave a load of papers with you? A story. I beg your pardon? The Hound of the something or other. If it's here, I want to see it. I'm sorry, young lady, but I'd sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers. I don't want it. What would I do with it anyway? I just want to see if it's here, that's all. Oh, you want to see it, do you? I want to know if Sean's really pawned it here or not. Please, just let me see it and I'll go. Oh, very well then. But for pity's sake, stop waving my gun around, would you? So then the old cove unlocked the storeroom door, and we both went inside. And it was there, alright, the mantle script. Sean's weren't lying, after all. You did all that just to check for me, Jenny? Anyway, then there was a bit of kick up. What? There was a bit of kick up out in the main bit of the shop. The Skulkin brothers arrived on the scene, yes. What was that noise? Someone's breaking in. Dear me, is there some burglars convention here tonight that I don't know about? I think I forgot to shut the door behind me, sorry. I better go and take care of it. Can I possibly have my gun back? Oh, well, I'll come with you and... Now don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And with that, he took the gun out of my hands and walked out back to the shop. I hung back in the storeroom like you said, straining me ears in the darkness. To ear what was going on. It sounded like they got into a bit of a scrap. I started to think I should help, see? So just as I was about to go out in the storeroom myself, when I heard a couple of gunshots go off, 2 I think, at the same time. And then there he was, right at my feet, lying face down on the floor. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked it as quick as you like. Because you thought whoever had shot Mr. Windybank might come for you? Yeah, so I went to grab the old cove's gun. I figured I'd put up a fight at least. But when I got a better look at him, I knew. Windybank was a goner. Did you faint? It felt funny in me all of a sudden. I felt funny in my head all of a sudden. Kind of felt dizzy. And after that, I don't remember nothing. So she fainted. That must have been when you passed out, Gina. If I hadn't have done what I done, the old cove might have still been alive. Did you tell the police everything you just told us? Of course I did, but they didn't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was, if I kept telling lies, it'd make things even worse for me. It'll be alright, Jenny, don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer. Bruno's about to put the real culprit through the mill. That cove that was there in the afternoon, that Edgar Benedict, he didn't point a gun at me. I still remember how he looked at me. Like I was nothing. He was there that night. We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced that he's involved somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. I appreciate your honesty. You what? You can leave it to we can leave it all at Bruno's capable hands now, Jenny. Mr. Naruto. Yes? How come you trust me? I don't get it. I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on, it was only 2 months ago. Me and Mr. McGill did. We told you a whole pack of lies. And you got the bog troll off with him. Even though he was the killer. No, I could never forget that. Oh? I did what I thought was best at the time. But the pain of the error in judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. Still, I don't forget that I also made you a promise. I told you that I'd be on your side to the bitter end, no matter what. But what if I'm lying? You could be working to get another killer off the hook, for all you know. I was once in your position, Gina. I was the accused in trial. You were? Before I left Japan, I was accused of a murder. And strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I was sure that no one would believe it wasn't me who had done it. Oh, Bruno. But there was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me, and was prepared to defend me. My best friend. Ryunosuke, no one believes in you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me, and I'll do the rest. I was so happy, I cried. But even then, somewhere inside me, I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. But I was wrong. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had absolute, unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute, unwavering belief in him. Since then, I came to realize, what is this new pose? Jenny, what is this new pose? Since then, I came to realize that if you want someone to believe in you, You have to believe in the other person first. What are you saying? I promise you, Gina, that no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry. I won't let you down. Even though I'm a diver and a no-good liar, you're not like McGilded. I know that. Hmm? That's right. You're our friend, Jenny. Iris. We know you better than you think. And we've come to the conclusion that you're someone we can trust. Yes. That's really all we needed to know. Yes. Mr. Naruto, I... Defendant Gina Lestrade and her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please head into the courtroom immediately. Yes, of course. Thank you. I have been both a defendant and a defending lawyer in my time. So I knew only too well just how hard it was to put all your faith in another. And I also knew that just how hard it was to bear the burden of another putting all their faith in you. This is it at last, the final chapter, the final battle. Wish me luck, Susato-san. And I hope you're watching over me too, partner. I hereby call the court to order as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. Lord Van Zieks, have you successfully subpoenaed the witness? The subpoena was delivered to the communication station where the man works immediately, my lord. However, the heavy rain delayed the arrival of his carriage, it would seem. I see. Then let us turn our attention to the Inspector Gregson's thesis of the case heard by the court this morning. The glaring omission of the third bullet in your report is a serious blunder, Inspector. Yes, I can only apologize, my lord. And although the defense's chemical analysis of the blood of the scene, makes for a compelling argument, I cannot permit such untried methods to be used as evidence in my courtroom. It's a big mistake to cross Hurley and me. A very big mistake. My lord, the subpoenaed witness has just arrived in the building. Let's see. Show him to the stand without delay. I hope you slay at... Wait, that rifle? Oh, thank you. Mr. Edgar Benedict. I didn't expect to be crossing paths with him again so soon. It's certainly not like this. Thank you for complying with the court's subpoena at such short notice, sir. But of course, my lord, as an upstanding member of London society, it is my pleasure to oblige. Now, kindly state your name and occupation for the record. Ashley Graydon? AG? Ashley Graydon, communications officer. Mr. Graydon and I both work at London Central Communications Station. Now, perhaps somebody would kindly explain what this is all about. You were apprised of the situation by the court officer. You were apprised of the situation by the court officer on your way here, I presume. Yes, I was. Something to do with a murder that took place in a pawnbroker's shop on Baker Street. And some nonsense about me having been there on the night in question. That is the accusation, indeed. This is really beyond a joke, you know. Very well. Without further delay, the court will hear your testimony now, Mr. Graydon. You will respond to the accusation made against you under oath. Gladly, my lord, gladly. The accusation. Naturally, I have the occasion to make use of pawnbroking services from time to time. But are you seriously suggesting that I colluded with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder? I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation, even as certain parties here present claim that my blood was found at the scene. Some Scaramouche detectives' homebrewed tincture can hardly be taken as serious evidence. So, you deny the accusation completely, do you? I must say, I am dismayed. For the highest court in the land to be swayed by this self-professed detective's toy. It was the will of the jury, and our great British justice system demands that the jury's will is upheld. Then it would seem we have the misfortune of a most inept assembly of jurors today. By golly, how long am I expected to be detained here? If following the defense's cross-examination, your involvement in this case has not been established, you will be free to leave immediately. Good, then I shall be away in afternoon for afternoon tea. Some small consolation at least. Let us not hold up Mr. Graydon any longer than necessary, counsel. Proceed with the cross-examination. So we meet again, Mr. Edgar Benedict. Or is it Mr. Graydon? My apologies. You are? Ryunosuke Naruhito, defense lawyer. We have met. If you say so, Ashley Graydon. Do you have a twin? Enchante. So. I trust we can conclude this quickly. But I'm not holding your flashy hat while we do. Naturally, I have an occasion to make use of pawnbroking services from time to time.
Hold it!
Let's talk about it. Yes, we even met at the very pawnbrokery where the crime took place on the afternoon of the day in question. Though, of course, you introduced yourself by a different name at the time. It was Mr. Edgar Benedict, I believe.
Objection!
Tell me that... What made your... What? The witness here is to testify about events that took place that night. He is under no obligation to answer such unrelated questions. You can't be serious. Thank you, because I certainly do not feel inclined to answer such an inappropriate question. So he's going to be evasive, is he? In an effort to not give anything away. This could be tricky. But are you seriously suggesting that I colluded with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder?
Hold it!
Have you seen these two men before? This pair? No. I don't associate with criminals. Said by a man who introduced himself as Edgar Benedict. I'd like to know who I have to thank for this. Who made this outlandish accusation against me? The young lawyer there in black. This is a farce. Whose idea was it to permit an outsider to work in a British court anyway? Well, needless to say, I have no intention of admitting such an outrageous accusation.
Hold it!
Where were you around the time? Wait, around 1 in the morning on the night in question, sir? That is past the hour at which I normally retire. Certainly. I was not in the company of these rapscallions. You are able to prove that?
Objection!
Listen carefully, my learned Nipponese friend. For you appear to be under a gross misapprehension on this point. What do you mean? The witness maintains that he was not at the scene of the crime. He has no obligation to prove his absence. What the fuck? What the fuck, you bitch? Why not? That's the whole. Ugh! Why? Why would he not? What do you mean? The burden of proof is with you. Well, then let's just go home. Like, let's just turn it off. Okay, like let's just cancel the case. Okay. If your accusation is that the witness was present at the scene, the obligation lies with you to prove your assertion. You will fulfill that obligation before putting any more unreasonable questions to the witness. A Sonic victory wiggle, thanks. Whatever.
Hold it!
Blood was found at the scene of the crime. There's no question of that. Mr. Sholmes' chemical analysis has possibly identified the substance as such. Objection. But I am not the only human to have blood running through my veins, am I? How can you be sure that the blood is mine? It could equally be the blood of these two miscreants. Every individual's blood has a slightly different composition, it seems. Mr. Sholmes' chemical is able to differentiate. Spare me the silence lesson. Who is this Sholmes character, anyway? Oh, I assumed all Londoners knew the name. He's a renowned detective. So even you are unable to bring yourself to say, great detective. A great detective, you say? Tis. We're in the realm of fairy tales, are we?
Excuse me.
Merci beaucoup.
Colon closing parenthesis.
What? Young Q, thank you so much for the Switch Prime. That's so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you have something to say, Mr. Skulkin? Oh, what? Me? No, Mr. Skulkin next to you. I've had enough to hear with this. How many times do I have to tell you? Yes, I know. You're not Mr. Big Bruv Sulky. Mr. Nash Skulkin. Huh? Corblami Governor. You what? Is it not the case that when Mr. Graydon just spoke, a thought went through your mind? Would you care to share that thought with the court? Me thoughts? I have none of them. It must have been him. You what? Mr. Nash Skulkin, answer the question, please. What went through your mind when Mr. Grayson just spoke? Nothing, honest Gov. Nothing. I was just thinking. If he waves his arm around like that much more, I'll open up the wound again, that's all. What wound? The wound that he should have after being shot, right? Where he took the bullet, of course. It was 2 days ago. It's not going to be healed up yet. So, well, you know, I was worrying for him and... Oh, hell's bells. Mr. Graydon, did you hear that? What? Your comrade is worried about you, it seems. On account of your injured arm. My lord. Yes, Mr. Graydon. I have no idea what these two wretches are talking about. Certainly, I shouldn't be expected to answer anything in relation to their mindless insinuations. We know that someone other than the victim was hit by a bullet at the scene of the crime 2 nights ago. And a person in the height of the bullet hole in the wall. Okay. And from the height of the bullet hole in the wall, that person was likely hit in the upper arm or thereabouts. Perhaps you'd allow the court official to examine your arm, sir? The left arm that you're currently clasping with your right hand, as if it's in pain. No, I refuse. You have shown no evidence whatsoever that links me to these common thieves. Accordingly, I am not obligated to permit any such invasion of my privacy. As I've already said, I'm completely uninvolved in this. I never had anything to do with the pawnbrokery where this fellow was killed whatsoever. I take offense to the insinuation that I was in any way involved. You claim to have nothing whatsoever to do with Mr. Winterbank's pawnbrokery? My lord, the defense would like to add that last statement to the formal testimony. Very well, counsel. Continue with your testimony, Mr. Graydon. The bottom line is, I've never had anything to do with the pawnbroking establishment where the man was killed. That's true. Never had anything to do with it. You forget that I was there, Mr. Graydon, on the very day of the incident. Obviously, I'm not a complete stranger to the pawnbrokers. I'm currently on the lookout for an armchair to furnish my study. No, you were there to redeem an article. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, Mr. Inspector? Huh? Come again, Sunshine? You were there too, in fact, weren't you, Inspector? That afternoon. Well, yes. I remember meeting yourself and the pawnbroker that afternoon. You, your young Japanese assistant, and the accused were all present, I recall. And at that time, this witness, Mr. Graydon, was trying to acquire a particular article. Well now. I'm afraid I don't remember too clearly. Are you serious? But you must! I'm not gonna lie and pretend I don't remember something I don't. What is going on here? Grexy showed us a picture before, didn't he? You know, from the cameras that Hurley installed in Windybanks? Yes, of course. Indeed. And the gentleman pictured bears a striking resemblance to the witness, I must say. Exactly, which proves that Mr. Graydon was in the shop on the afternoon in question. At no point have I denied that fact. I merely entered the shop to pursue the articles on sale, and I have no word, and I have a word with the broker. Nothing more. This makes no sense. I understand why Mr. Graydon might be trying to cover his tracks. But why would Mr. Gregson be trying to avoid giving testimony about what happened? That's all he's gonna say on the matter, is it? What do you think, Runo? I think he has no intention of telling us anything. He's well aware that the less he says, the less chance he has to give himself away. The complete opposite of Hurley, then. He seems to think that the more he says, the better. Well, at least I managed to prise a little more information from the witness's lips. All thanks to the Skulkin brothers. Yes, they were the key to it after all. So he says he has nothing to do with Windybanks. Well, we know that's not true. Perhaps would be a good time to have a proper look through the court record. The disc again?
Objection!
Have you ever seen this disc before, Mr. Graydon? Why? Is it supposed to mean something? This disc was, until the day of his murder, in Pawn and Mr. Windybank's shop. It was redeemed by their defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, that afternoon. However, someone mysteriously appeared to try to take it from her. And that somebody was you, of course. Wasn't it, Mr. Graydon? As I've retired, we reiterate numerous times now. You're mistaken. That was not me. I have never ever seen a disc before in my life. It may have escaped your notice, but there is a small smear of blood on the disc. Yes, resulting from the abrasion of the thumb, perhaps. That's right. The surface of the disc is covered in hundreds of tiny metal bumps. The skirmish to acquire the disc, the thumb of the person who tried to take it suffered minor lacerations. So, while the disc bears, let's see, the remnants of that skirmish in form of the smear of blood, the thumb of the person in question must bear the remnants also, in the form of a scratch. Mr. Graydon, you refused to allow the court officer to examine your arm before. Are you now going to refuse us to allow us to examine your thumb? Because I have no doubt that it bears a small scratch consistent with the smear of blood on this disc. Well, well. It would seem I underestimated you. What is the meaning of this? So you admit it now? You admit you have a scratch on your thumb from when you attempted to take this disc from the defendant? It would appear that there has been something of a misunderstanding here. I didn't attempt to take the disc, as you put it. No, quite the reverse. What are you trying to say? It really is quite simple, you see. That disc was mine from the outset. Is there some crime in taking an item that you put out of pawn? What? It would seem, Mr. Graydon, that in this piece of evidence, my learned friend has established a link between yourself and the incident. Accordingly, you will tell the court everything you know about this disc now. As you wish. Though I'm quite sure it has nothing whatsoever to do with the pawnbroker's murder. There is a note on the disc saying for Mr. McGilded, but the item belongs to me. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy gutherling, on the day in question. I proceeded to once stop to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem the article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night. Didn't he say that there were 2 discs? There was a second disc that he was looking for, right? There were 2 discs. Uh-oh. What? You two were acquainted? Oh. Order? Well, I certainly didn't expect to hear that name uttered here in my courtroom again. According to what Gina told us, that disc was placed on pawn that fateful night 2 months ago. Mr. McGildy gave himself instructions to deposit it at Windybank's. It's funny that Mr. Graydon here has is claiming that the disc belongs to him, isn't it? In all likelihood, he's lying. So he appeared that afternoon at Windy Banks in order to get his hands on Mr. McGilda's disc for some reason. Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination. Okay.
Hold it!
Okay. As you'll observe, a communications officer such as myself commands a fine salary. You certainly are exquisitely dressed, sir. So as you see, I have little need to make use of the services provided by the pawnbrokery trade. However, I did once find myself in difficulties, having misplaced my purse whilst on errand, which is why I pawned my fine black overcoat to the broker in question. That was obviously your coat. I first met Mr. McGilda at a gentleman's club in the city, and I was interested to discover that he shared my pension in that area. So the disc in question is a pre-production sample. I promised to let Mr. McGilda hear it. But you forgot that it was in the pocket of your overcoat you were forced to pawn. Yes, exactly. Yeah, she didn't mention any of that, yeah? Uh-oh. It's gonna expose her perjury. Uh-oh.
Hold it! Objection!
Of course you take that stance, but that girl is a regular offender, okay?
Objection!
I proceeded at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem the article. Okay.
Hold it!
Have you been there before? Only once, for the purposes of pawning something. But like many, I enjoy browsing in such establishments. Okay, so when you notice that the pickpocket has taken your ticket, you chase her. Is that correct? Yes, that's right. I didn't notice at first, of course. Such is the art of the pick purse. But when I did, I headed to the pawnbrokery at once in order to reclaim my coat before the theft could. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police.
Hold it!
Is that right?
I knew it. I knew it. I knew something like that was coming up. Apparently, the police are collecting anything that has a connection to Mr. McGilded as evidence.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Inspector? Well, what do you mean? The last remark Mr. Graydon made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way. No, it didn't. It's nothing. Leave it alone. Let me ask you this, Inspector. Why is Scotland Yard gathering Mr. McGilded's possessions? I can't tell you something like that, Sunshine. What is it, Inspector? Investigative secrets? Yes, exactly. You should know all about that. Magnus McGilded, who died so unexpectedly after the trial 2 months ago, a man renowned throughout the capital for his great contributions to public life, and yet he has a dark side too. Where are you going with this, Van Zieks? I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of his nefarious activities, are they? That's enough. Hoppers like me have duties to carry out that we're not at liberty to talk about. That's all you need to know. Duties conferred by Lord Strongheart, I presume. You're done, buddy. You're done. You're done. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's done. It's just over. It's done. I can't wait to get him. The Lord Chief Justice appears to have great faith in you, Inspector. The bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're gonna need Lord Strongheart's paw print first. What's all this about? It's like there's something going on between Gregson and Von Zieks here. Well, it would appear that the inspector has revealed that all that he's at liberty to reveal. Mr. Graydon, let us return to your testimony. Glad of me, my lord. Excuse me.
Hold it!
A valuer was brought in by police to assess everything in the shop. Without exception, every article on the shelves was common or garden bric-a-brac. In that case, it's clear that you broke into the shop later that day in order to recover Mr. McGilded's disc. Have you not been listening, man? Even if I wanted to recover the disc, you may recall that it had been seized by the police that afternoon. Here it comes. Where's that pursue at? Because he had 2 discs. There were 2 discs that he wanted, remember? And where's the other one? It was no more in the shop than as I keep saying, I simply had no reason to break in. So there was nothing of Mr. McGilded's left in the shop that night. Nothing this man might have been after. I wonder if that's really true. Bruno, if he has some evidence... I got it, sweetie, don't worry.
Hold it!
Oops.
Objection!
This disc was deposited at Windy Bank on Magnus McGilder's instructions. You knew that, and you went there on the intention of obtaining it yourself.
Objection!
Conjecture again, and in any case, the disc was taken into custody by the police that afternoon. The witness had no reason to visit the pawnbrokery again that night.
Objection!
Sorry, my learned friend, but that's not true. What? Mr. McGilda had another article in pawn at Windy Banks, as this second pawnbroker's ticket proves. Uh-oh. There were 2 articles belonging to Mr. McGilded and Windy Banks Pawnbrokery, and the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one. Together with your 2 accomplices, the Skulkin brothers. This is the second ticket, is it? What has the man deposited? The article description reads, 1 small box. A rather vague description, it seems to me. Are you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket box? I believe that there are adequate grounds to suspect that you did. This is absurd. Why on earth would I do such a thing? 1 article has been forfeited. Once the article has been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There would be absolutely no need for me to resort to theft. That is a good point. Indeed, the witness makes a solid argument. So that means that for some reason, this Graydon fellow needed the small box that very night, does it?
Objection!
Time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. Could you be a little bit less cryptic, Lord Franziques? I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite uncontroversible. In the night in question, no small box was taken from Windy Bank's pawnbrokery, and rest assured, the prosecution can prove it. Inspector, show the photograph of prints to the court, if you please. What prints? Okay. As previously explained, using the plan of the shop layout, the victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in 2 locations. One was set to capture the counter where Mindybeck received his customers, and the other was to capture the shelves in which the articles were placed were on sale once purchased. Once forfeited. According to the information on this ticket, McGilded's small box had been forfeited already, 2 days before the incident, at 9 p.m. on the 13th of April to be precise, which means it would have been on the shelves of forfeited of items in the shop front. Now, what I have here is a print taken by one of the cameras 2 hours before the incident. That's 11 p.m. on April 15th. The victim certainly had a very full shop, it would appear. And then here we have another print. This one was taken about 2 hours after the incident. I see, so we have 2 pictures to compare. Though I must say, placing them side by side leaves me cold. Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache. Obviously, at Scotland Yard, we consider theft as one of the possible motives in this case. We explored the possibility that something had been taken in addition to the victim's life. So your men have already compared these 2 prints thoroughly, Inspector? Yes, sir. We counted every single item in each of these 2 photographic prints. And the Yard's conclusion is that exactly the same number are present in both. In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery in that night in question, and my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy. Uh-oh. You know what, Runo? I've been thinking. Is it time to look? I wonder if these 2 photographic prints really are exactly the same. Is it time? Okay, in light of the evidence put forward by the prosecution, what is your position? It seems that, in fact, on the night in question, nothing was stolen from the victim's establishment. Do you accept the prosecution's assertion?
Take that!
Mm-hmm. Oh. I wasn't sure at first, but there is a clear discrepancy between these two prints. Uh-oh. You must identify the location in question for the court. I mean...
Take that!
Granted, these two prints are almost identical. However, there is one minor discrepancy between them. What? Would you to the view pictures stereoscopically? Uh-oh. A single area stands out as being different. The location of this small box. Uh-oh. What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGilden's small box was indeed not stolen from Windybanks on the night in question. However, there could be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelves. Are you suggesting that the small box originally deposited by Mr. McGilden is in fact? Yes, the very same small box I just identified in these photographic prints. You have no proof. Mindless guesswork. What if it was? So a box was moved on the shelf. Nothing was stolen. Which means, quite simply, that nothing has changed. That may be true, but... Alright, McGilden's box wasn't stolen, then... What it doesn't hide the fact that it was moved. Wait, what? Doesn't the fact that it was moved, like, that change things? Of course it changes things. It means that somebody went in it. Couldn't you have just taken something out of it? Duh. I believe this changes everything about the case. How can it possibly be? The crucial point is the fact that it was moved. What was moved was the small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have happened, would have been inside that box. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at Windybanks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary. Some little box belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this trial. The court does not uphold your objection, Lord Van Zieks. Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to the store at once. Obtain the small box in question and bring it back here for further examination. We should have a report within half an hour. I think perhaps we should recess for a short while until the evidence is brought forth. To be hoodwinked by such a farce. Disappointing. I beg your pardon, Lord Van Zieks. This is nothing but a smokescreen. A Nepalese specialty, it would seem. What are you trying to say? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning, that this witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGilden from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place. Exactly. It would be beyond absurd to break into a place for the purpose of stealing such a commonplace property. If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGilden perished 2 months ago, immediately after the conclusion of this trial. A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which it was established he was the upstanding member of society. His reputation implied, in fact. So I propose a toast to my learned friend and his most insightful defense. The articles this upstanding member of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat just happened to have a music box disc in one of his pockets, and a small box. I assure you, I won't accept even if the man tried to make a gift of such things to me. You know, that does make a red lot of sense. It's not as though it was gold or jewels, was it? Though goodness knows if Mr. McGilded was rich enough. But if he can't deposit cash in a prompt rookery, then what was it? The prosecution's argument is undeniably compelling. It is incumbent on the defense to bolster its argument, to explain on what possible significance these commonplace articles pawned by this fine citizen could have. Well, counsel, is your argument in fact demonstratable? Are you able to show proof that the disc or the box are in any way tangible, and in any tangible way related to the case? Well, yeah, there is Gina's jacket. And also... Uh-oh. Well, what's the matter, Runo? We know that they're related, don't we? They're both vital pieces of evidence. Yes, of course. You and I both know that. We know Mr. McGild's true character, and we know the disc is significant, even if we don't know why. But if we explain that to the court at this point, we'll have to acknowledge that Mr. McGild's acquittal 2 months ago was a mistake. That the defense's argument was flawed, based on false information. And that would mean admitting that Gina committed perjury. But Jenny, could it be that Lord Van Zeeks knows? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he anticipated everything? But maybe this could be a great opportunity for us. Sorry? What do you mean, Iris? Well, what is it that you always say, Bruno? Sooner or later, the truth comes out every time. Alright, the exact significance of the things that Mr. McGill deposited with Mr. Wittibank is something that only Gina can explain to the court. But if I put her on stand to testify about that, it could critically damage our chances of winning this case. What's the right thing to do here? What happens if I say leave it? The defense would like to make a proposal. What proposal? While the court awaits the arrival of Mr. McGild's small box, I would like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness stand. The defendant? To what end? It's to do with the various articles deposited at Wittibanks by Mr. McGild, my lord. Miss Lestrade has information relating to them. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. It will prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all. Well, well, things are becoming interesting. I presume you've considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing. In particular, the impact it will have on the accused's standing, and indeed, your own. I have. Lord Van Zeeks, would you care to explain that last remark? The prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear the accused from the accused herself. Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Miss Lestrade testifies. Okay. Oh, Gina. articles that Mr. McGilda had deposited when he banks his prong-brokery are intimately related with the omnibus case, the trial of which was heard in his courtroom 2 months ago. Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well. That's right, my lord. Her testimony helped establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGilded. The omnibus case was intriguing, to say the least. And now, here we all are again, the same players in that trial, facing each other once more. A twist of fate, perhaps, my Nepalese friend. Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. An old brickmaker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along the London's winter streets. Apart from the victim, there was only one other person from the carriage, Mr. McGilded. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder. But, as the trial progressed, another possibility emerged, that the murder in fact took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body then being dropped through the skylight into the carriage below. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed under a seat in the carriage, hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. Then, immediately after the trial, having been acquitted of the murder, Mr. McGilded died in his very courtroom in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on. As indeed does the omnibus murder itself. Be that as it may, I recall that neither this nor the small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings. Miss Lestrade, would you tell the court now, please, what really happened in the omnibus 2 months ago? I mean, I don't know what you mean. I already said all of what I know. And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Please, Miss Lestrade, this is extremely important. But remember, little girl, if it transpires that you willfully withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to prosecute you for perjury. And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face facts, you have little credibility to lose. Jenny, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Bruno now. Iris? We're on your side. Alright then. I'll talk. It's the right choice, Gina. Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing the entire courtroom down about his ears. So be it. I must confess that I'm struggling to understand what's happening here. However, it would appear that Mr. McGilded's pawn articles and that extraordinary case of the omnibus harbor secrets of which we have been hitherto unaware. So, Miss Lestrade, you will now give your testimony before the court about the events 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth, a commodity sorely lacking in your original statements. This is it then. Everything's going to come out. Like Van Ziek said, this could bring the entire courtroom down about my ears, but as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take that risk. The truth is that the Brickmaker's Cove was in the cabin. What? The Brickmaker's Cove was in the cabin of the omnibus the entire time. When the Irishman dragged me from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over my head, and a pair on the roof deck went off to call the slops. That's when Mr. McGilded slipped the driver some tin to do a run to the pawn shop roundabout. He threatened me to not snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I'd seen or heard. Good grief, this is outrageous. What you just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago. As you say, my lord. Then there's every chance I may have adjudicated an error in Mr. McGilda's trial. It sounds very much to me that if the man deliberately deceived this court in an effort to cover up his most wicked of schemes. Without a doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial, of this witness, and of my learned friend are entirely unexcusable. Uh-oh. He stitched everyone up, didn't he? What an operation. Hello? Yes, the defense made a terrible error in judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, it is imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the truth of the significance of Mr. McGilda's pawned articles may be brought to light. Very well, my learned student friend. Oh. 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 Given the depths of calamity you have just plunged yourself into, this may well be worth hearing. Words fail me. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhado. Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. Blimey, Mr. Naruhado. Now, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. What am I fucking doing here? Why is he looking away? Okay, so let's find out more. Okay. Press around every statement. Oh, and another thing. What? What are they talking about? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why are they whispering? What are they talking about?
Hold it!
Uh-oh. Interesting. And your testimony 2 months ago. I feel that you claimed... I feel certain that you claimed Mr. McGilda was the sole passenger, did you not? I seem to know his real name now. Who? False testimony, my lord. That's what he told me I had to say. But it's important that you tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGilda and the victim acquaintances? I don't know. But I did hear them talking a lot. What were they talking about? Well, I couldn't hear too well, but if I had to say... I think it was something about money. They kept talking about buying and not buying. Perhaps business dealing of some kind. Well, anyway, they got louder and louder and started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared then. I hardly dared to breathe, and then all of a sudden... I heard a noise. Like someone kneeling over the floor. It was blooming and loud and all. And I believe you let out an involuntary scream? Yeah. That's what gave me away. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. Oh.
Hold it!
Was the disc that you saw this disc? Yeah, I reckon it probably was. It was right next to the cove, lying on the floor. Could this disc have belonged to the victim, perhaps? I don't know, but McGill picked it up pretty smartish. And then he sat the cove with the knife. The cove with the knife in his belly up on the seat. What did he say to you at that time? He told me not to say a word about what I'd seen or heard to no one. About the disc and all. I was dead scared. The way he was looking at me, I thought, if I didn't go along with it, I'd get stuck with that knife too. And then he started asking me a little questions, like what my name was and where I lived and all that, and he asked me about being a diver too. But after a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed? Yeah, that's right. First, there was a kind of rapping noise. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over my head, and that pair on the roof deck went off to call the SWAT. So there were two gentlemen occupying the seats on the roof deck, I believe. Yeah, that's right. Those two. They must have looked down through the skylight and noticed the cove with a knife in his guts. When they screamed, the driver pulled up the horses, and McGilda got out of sight. Out of sight? Where? Back under the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came to a halt, the two coves from the roof ran off to catch the slops. If they immediately left to fetch the police, then it would appear that they were entirely unrelated to the incident. So that left Mr. McGilda, the driver, and you still at the scene. Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside. The driver, yes, he also testified in the trial, I believe. A fellow that went by the name of Bebo, if memory serves. What did Mr. McGilda and the driver say to each other? I don't know what happened, and stuff like that, mainly. That's when Mr. McGilda slipped the driver some 10 to do a run to the pawn shop roundabout. That pawn shop obviously being Windy Banks on Baker Street. Just a moment, counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well? Perhaps the excursion to the pawnbrokery slipped his mind when he was at the stand. Indeed, Lord Van Zieks. McGilda took off his coat and gave it to the driver. He folded it up carefully, and before handing it over, that's when I saw him do it. I remember thinking, uh-oh. That coat and what it's got in it must be worth a few bob. Yes, Gina was sure that this must be worth more than Mr. Windybank was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember her quibbling with him over the price that afternoon at the pawnbrokery. That driver looked pretty happy when Mr. McGilda flashed some brass in his face. He went off running. Okay. He went off running at a lick. Then the bog trotter called me and told me to come out from the drag's cabin. He threatened me to not snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I'd seen or heard.
Hold it!
Threatened you how, exactly? Told me that I'd only be able to scarp her if I did exactly what he said. Which included giving false testimony in court 2 months ago? Yeah, that's it. And there was one other thing he said, which was... He told me I'd have to hang onto the ticket from the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it. The ticket? Well, I never. Said if I didn't show up to get the ticket off me before 2 months had passed, I'd have to go to the shop and pay money to keep it in lug, to stop it from being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it. But really, why on earth would Mr. McGilda have done such a thing? Depositing his overcoat with the pawnbroker before the arrival of police, it makes no sense at all. There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What Mr. McGilda had at the driver's what Mr. McGilda had the driver deposit at Woody Banks was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs. Anyway, after that, he let me go, so I liked it before the coppers showed up. Hmm. What'd I miss? Do I present this? Like, what do I do?
Objection.
I mean, there's nothing to object, right? So what do I do? Did I miss something?
Hold it. Hold it. Hold it.
Hmm.
Hold it. Excuse me.
Oh, oops. Hello? Huh? Do you think I have anything to talk about with a shady jet like this? And I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective after he deprived me of that disc that was rightfully mine. Huh? They've been negotiating. Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, Counsel. I've heard enough. I believe we now have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired on the omnibus. Okay, what's a good stopping point? It would appear that on the night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. A negotiation concerning this disc. However, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, Mr. McGilded took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life. Which proves my point. The disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way, although I don't understand why yet. And yet, 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the omnibus incident, McGilded's coat and its contents were due to be forfeited. I didn't know what I should do with the ticket. I mean, the cub died right after his trial. I knew that. So you decided you would try to claim the articles as your own? Well, why not, eh? They were only going to be forfeited. Why shouldn't I have gotten them? Anyway, you can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking ain't no crime. Miss Lestrade, it would appear that Mr. McGilded was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be? Huh? I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. He was probably gonna sell it. And you can't blame me for thinking that. Taking ain't no crime. My lord. The evidence you requested has been located and is ready for the court's inspection. Please tell me this is break time. The mysterious little box deposited by Mr. McGill 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that it's the key piece in this far-reaching puzzle. See, Scott, see? There you go, you did it. Round of applause for Scott, good job. See, nice job, you did it, see? All right, time for some more. Damn, this is a long-ass part 4, holy shit. Okay, well, I'm gonna go. It's late, and I still have a project I have to do, so, you're gonna have to excuse me while I go deal with that, and I hope you have a good rest of your evening. I'll be back later on today. I'll probably be doing Lantern Right, or something. I'm around every day but Wednesday night. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens then. I might just finish Ace Attorney tomorrow, and then maybe we can start Okami sometime this week. Who knows? Okay, but I should go. It's late. What are you guys doing up, okay? Do you not have work or something? Are you not tired? Go to bed. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go. I love you all so very much. We're gonna find out the conclusion of this case next stream, more than likely. Or, you know, the next time we stream it. I don't know when that's gonna be. It could be today. It could be Wednesday when Scott has surgery, so he misses the conclusion. Honestly, whatever's most inconvenient for Scott is probably the best option for me. So, yeah. Let's do it then. Okay, I love you all so very much. I will see you then. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I will see you later on today. All right. All right, night-night. Bye, guys.